Dinosaurs, vampires, pirates, and merfolk. To some, this combination may sound like a fantastic adventure or an intimidating nightmare, but to others, this is a simplified description of home. This home, referred to as the Plane of Ixalan, is where a story of desire unfolds and a young planeswalker's spark ignites while on a search for a secret treasure in a long-lost city of gold hidden by a jungle. Together, we set off on our own adventure to discover the exploration of Huatli. One of the youngest candidates to be considered for the title of warrior poet, a title bestowed to only one person in a generation, Huatli was an orator and a knight. Huatli defended the coastline against various vampire incursions, receiving praise from the Emperor of the Sun Empire. Her next coastal confrontation would be against a much different coalition. Huatli would discover supply crates and ships abandoned on the coast. She would destroy the supplies with fire and flush the vampires from the jungle using dinosaurs. As Huatli attempted to leave, red-hot chains burned the legs of her mount, causing Huatli to fall to the ground. The beast that attacked revealed himself to be Angrath in search of the immortal sun. Huatli and Angrath would battle ferociously, but once Angrath got the upper hand and Huatli realized both her and her cousin would die, Huatli's spark ignited, causing her to travel through the blind eternities and temporarily visit a city of wonder before traveling back to the same spot in front of Angrath. Angrath informed Huatli she was a planeswalker like him and invited her to join him in trying to escape the plane of Ixalan. But Huatli retreated with her cousin Inti. Huatli believed the city of wonder she saw to be Orazca. The city would later be revealed to be Girapur of Kaladesh. After describing these events to the Emperor, he informs Huatli the title of warrior poet would be hers if she could discover the lost city of Orazca. On her search for Orazca, Huatli found the merfolk Tishana, who agreed to guide Huatli in order to stop Kumena from obtaining the immortal sun and save both their races from invading pirates and vampires. Tishana suggested she knew the general area of Orazca, but in order to actually find it, they would need to obtain a compass capable of locating the lost city, which is currently in the possession of none other than Orazca. While traveling through the jungle, Orazca had been protected by Jace's illusions. However, Tishana and Huatli are able to attack them and interrogate the planeswalkers for the thaumatic compass. It is revealed Jace and Orazca were attacked by a vampire who was able to steal the compass from them. Huatli tracked down a vampire for hours in the thick jungle, eventually catching up and using her giant dinosaur to bite and shake the vampire, taking back the compass and calling vicious predators to feast upon the vampire's barely moving body. Orazca was then able to surprise attack Huatli with a small army of pirates taking back the compass. Tishana summoned a flood to scatter the enemies, but Orazca and Jace were able to escape together. Seconds later, Angrath was able to calmly speak with Huatli, revealing they are both one and the same, they are both planeswalkers. Huatli agreed to travel with Angrath, although reluctantly. Together, they discovered a deteriorating tomb. As Huatli approached the tomb, she paused as a pale, feminine hand removed the slab covering the opening. Huatli and Angrath had discovered the tomb of an ancient legend, the Bat of the East, Elenda the Dusk Rose. They spoke with Elenda, and Elenda was hurt to find out that the Legion was now seen as invaders rather than protectors, which was their holy mission. The conversation between Elenda and Huatli angered Angrath, and he expressed she was merely wasting time. He attacked Huatli, but before she could counterattack, he was already running towards the spires of Orazca. In retaliation, Huatli summoned a dinosaur to trap Angrath under its foot. Tishana appears with a group of merfolk, and together they continue ahead to Orazca. As they approached the lost city, they found Kumena, who fell from the tower, and he was now in critical condition. He lets the group know that the Legion of Dusk had taken control of the immortal sun. Upon entering the building, they find Vona, Butcher of Magan, claiming to be the Emperor of Orazca. Vona uses the immortal sun to manipulate Huatli's blood and cause intense pain. Before the violence could continue, everyone in the room was drawn to the window by an entrancing melody. They approached the window and saw a winged siren singing to them with a fierce and ugly goblin around his neck. The goblin, known as Breeches, attacked Vona, and the siren cheered him on. Angrath then storms into the room, carrying the severed head of the dinosaur that was trapping him. Everyone in the room had the sudden realization that the immortal sun was unprotected, and Vona, Tishana, Angrath, and Huatli all dashed towards it, touching a different area of the artifact. An immense energy flowed throughout their bodies, Huatli laughing at how good it actually felt. Huatli felt the immense heartbeats of the 5 elder dinosaurs, but quickly saddened, also feeling the footsteps of her empire approach. Suddenly, the ground beneath them crumbled, and the immortal sun vanished. Falling to a room below, Elenda then reappears where the group had landed, and one by one, we see the desires of the characters finally met. Angrath is now free to planeswalk away from Ixalan and rejoin his family on a different plane. Vona and Mavrin were told by Elenda their mission was never to use the immortal sun, but rather guard it and protect it until someone with good intentions could be led its way. Tishana and Huatli come to an agreement to arrange a peace meeting for their 2 tribes to live in harmony. Huatli then summons the elder dinosaur, Zakama, and rides the gigantic beast back to her empire. She speaks with her emperor and is granted the title of warrior poet for finding Orazca. They plan for an official ceremony the next day, but after learning the emperor refused to let her tell the truth about the partnership between her and the merfolk, Huatli and her family agree it is her destiny to travel outside the plane of Ixalan. Huatli travels to Kaladesh, which she originally saw when her spark first ignited. Upon her arrival, she meets Saheeli, who becomes eager to model an artificial dinosaur after Huatli describes one to her for the very first time. In the lore of War of the Spark, with the help of Orazca and the Golgari swarm, they were able to evacuate many civilians to the tunnels underneath the city. Huatli was one of the few planeswalkers who chose to remain on Ravnica after Chandra disabled the immortal sun, helping the Gatewatch in their fight against Bolas. Afterwards, she joined the group of planeswalkers that visited Theros to pay respects to Gideon. The Warrior Knight, now known as the Warrior Poet, lived on one of the most diverse planes in Magic the Gathering lore. She selflessly followed the orders of her emperor, but later worked with her friends for peace. Now on Ravnica, the story of Huatli waits to arise again, as the once long-lost city of Orazca did from the jungle. This was the exploration of Huatli.